Hey, it's your boy Cosmic here, and today I decided to make a video about how to fight Blaze in Joy Mech Fight. Now, the reason I decided to make this video on Blaze wasn't because I thought it was too powerful. If it was for that reason, I would have done a video on Gaian or Gibber instead, but more so because a really high amount of new players gravitate towards Blaze, and during Gibber's Crypt 3 this ended up causing some problems. As of right now, the current meta is defined to some extent by how well equipped your character is to deal with Blaze, and personally I'm not a fan of when this happens. Take Star for example, despite the fact that he hasn't changed, and if anything has become better thanks to my discovery of the semi-stun loop thing. Very sorry about this part, by the way. I wrote this script when we didn't know this was actually complete trash. He's actually gone down on the tier list since so many of the new players have picked up Blaze, and no one else. Mad respect to my boy Blood, by the way, for actually being original with his character picks. And Star just gets utterly memed by Blaze, so hopefully by making this video I'll show more players how to deal with Blaze, and in doing so help to shift the meta away from its current trajectory. I can't pronounce words. Now, going over Blaze's normal game plan is hard, mainly because he doesn't have one, so this video will mainly be going over specific things that Blaze does and how to deal with them. However, I will start the video by going over more general stuff, mainly because it was 90% of what I got out of Man Boy when I asked him what I should put in here, and chances are he knows more about Blaze than I do. Basically, the one thing you want to do when fighting Blaze is just stay on the ground. Blaze has a lot of anti-air options, so making sure he doesn't get to use them is important. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't jump at all. In some situations you'll need to, but you need to know for a fact that he can't anti-air you, because if he does, he can get in a lot of damage, and it'll also usually lead to some setups that can be incredibly difficult to deal with. And speaking of which, allow me to go over one of them. This one is, I'll be honest, 90% of the time if you see this, you're probably going to take some damage. The reason it works so well is that if you jump, Blaze can hit you out of the air, and if you block, he can just throw you while you're in block stun. There are ways around this, of course, but there's a lot of them, and most are character-specific, so instead of describing them in any level of detail, I'll just show some clips of the moves being done. Now, if your character was shown at any point there, then good for you. But if they weren't, then either they can get out of this, but I didn't know, which is unlikely, or they have no method of getting out of this where they either avoid damage or trade with Blaze. But that doesn't mean they should just stand there and take the throw or a jump punch wave combo. This might sound weird, but in this case I'd say the best thing to do is walk forward and get hit by the projectile. It doesn't cause a huge amount of damage, but more importantly, it moves you back and doesn't cause knockdown. If you take the air punch, you'll most likely get knocked into the projectile anyway, so avoiding the extra damage is preferable. And if you get thrown, you'll take more damage, and Blaze can just do the setup again since you're knocked down. So for many characters, it becomes less of a case of avoiding damage and more a case of minimizing the damage that you do take. The setup might seem kind of broken, and to be fair, it is one of Blaze's strongest options, but most of the characters that I showed earlier can still avoid it, and even the ones who can't will only take a small amount of damage. Talking about projectile setups is all well and good, but now I'm going to talk about something Blaze does that probably a lot more people struggle with. Rainbow Tackle. Rainbow Tackle is by far Blaze's best special, but it's by no means broken, and there are definitely ways of getting around it. This might sound obvious, but I'd say the number one way to deal with it is just punish it and stop trying to be defensive. I literally can't think of a single situation where blocking Rainbow Tackle is actually a good idea, since it deals so much block stun that a throw is almost inevitable, and it basically sends Blaze's hurtbox flying towards you. The best way to punish it is usually with a jump kick, since feet don't have hurtboxes during attacks, but some characters like Hanzor or Garborg still have better ways of punishing it than this. I won't go over those in this video, but just know that if you have an attack that goes far away from your hurtbox and you can actually hit Blaze during Rainbow Tackle, then you should probably just punish with that, provided it does more damage than a jump kick. Another thing you should probably consider is how floaty your character's jump is. Sometimes, like with Y or Leo, punishing with the jump kick is no problem, since you'll be on the ground again before Blaze can do anything, but for others, like Star or Scapagon, it's a different story. These characters have really floaty jumps, so sometimes if you try to punish Rainbow Tackle with jump kick, you'll just take an anti-air in the form of Rainbow Fury. In this case, you better hope your character has another way of punishing this move, because if they don't, the matchup will suddenly become much more difficult. However, sometimes this is all irrelevant, because you don't even have the time to throw out a quick jump or other punish move, since the opponent started the Rainbow Tackle while you were knocked down. In this case, there's not a whole lot you can do if you don't have a reversal like Shen or Ashura, other than you just throw out your fastest attack and hope for the best. This isn't like the projectile situation either. Rainbow Tackle can cause knockdown, so you can't just take an attack and hope for the best. If your character's jump is fast enough, you might be able to jump back instead, but that still leaves you vulnerable to that. Don't get me wrong, some characters can escape from this situation, but many, especially the low tiers, just have to hope for the best. You might have noticed that I've shown clips of this move a lot, but I haven't actually talked about it much, and that's because honestly there isn't much to talk about. It's just a generally solid anti-air and defensive tool. There's not much to say about it. Blaze is it says here on the script, Blaze is invincible for a while. This isn't anything to do with the guide. I just thought I'd mention that because I thought it was kind of funny. Blaze is invincible for a while at the start of it, and if he does it in neutral, most characters can hit him out of it, but that's really all you need to know about it. It's good, absolutely. It functions as Blaze's main anti-air, but dealing with it is fundamentally no different from dealing with any other anti-air. If anything, it's actually a bit worse than most of them, since it can be so easily punished if the Blaze player doesn't know what they're doing. Now, I want to say one last thing before I end the video. This isn't it. I like to think that what I've gone over here is a majority of what you'll need to be able to deal with Blaze effectively, and it probably is, but this likely isn't all there is to it. If you've just finished watching this video and you have some suggestions for what people should do to deal with Blaze that I haven't gone over in this video, please let me know. What I want to do with this video is make people realize that Blaze isn't some invincible force of nature that can't be dealt with, and hopefully make a real change in the meta. That last part might sound a little full of myself, but SLK's done it before with his Garboard video, and that actually went over less than this video, so I can see it being possible. That being said, this video isn't perfect, nothing is, so if you think I've missed something, please let me know in the comments. And regardless of if you think I missed anything or not, please read the comments. There's probably something in there that you won't hear in this video.